Causes of the American Revolution and Revolutionary War test. Number 1. What did the Proclamation Act of 1763 do? Proclamation Act of 1763. A. Stopped colonists from settling west of the Appalachian Mountains. C. Gave the Great Lakes to Canada. D. Banned trading with Native American Indians. Proclamation Act 1763. Number 2. We have the Mayflower Compact, the Charter establishing the Virginia House of Burgesses, and the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. Which factor most contributed to the creation of the documents in this list? Was it A, the opportunity to trade with American Indians, B, the distance of the colonies from Great Britain, or C, the doctrine of the Church of England? What caused these to be created? Number 3. Who wanted restrictions and taxes on colonists, such as the Proclamation of 1763, Sugar Act, and Stamp Act? Who wanted these taxes? A. King George III, B. George Washington, C. Samuel Adams. Number 4. An act for granting and applying certain stamp duties and other duties in the British colonies and plantations in America. For every piece of parchment or sheet of paper on which shall be written or printed any declaration, plea, or other pleading, or any copy thereof, in any court of law within the British colonies and plantations in America, a stamp duty of 3 pence. So that means a stamp tax of about $3. The act exerted above was passed by British Parliament in order to pay for what? Why did they create the Stamp Act? Was it A, to pay for the costs of maintaining British soldiers in the colonies, B, a profit to the British government for establishing the colonies, or C, the cost of operating royal courts of law in the colonies? Why did they pass these taxes? Which one of these things are they trying to pay for? Number 5. Historians believe that the system of mercantilism was bad for colonists because, so why was mercantilism bad? A, colonists must buy and sell goods with England only. C, the colonies could not successfully be defended from the French. Or D, Britain's earliest navigation acts were impossible to enforce. What made mercantilism bad? Number 6. Many colonists believed that the British taxes were unfair because why? Why was taxing unfair? A, they didn't want to pay any taxes at all. B, colonists were asked to pay higher taxes than those paid in England. Or C, the colonists had no representation in Parliament. Number 7. Which best describes George Washington's winter at Valley Forge in 1777 to 1778? George Washington and Valley Forge. Was it A, Washington spent the winter there to wait for help from the French? C, Washington used the winter to launch a surprise attack against the British? Or D, Washington used the winter to train and discipline his soldiers? What did Washington do during that winter? Number 8. We have football players refusing to stand for the national anthem. Colonists protesting the Tea Act with the Boston Tea Party. Peaceful sit-ins at diners during civil rights movements. What do each of these examples in the diagram show? Is this A, civil disobedience, B, judicial review, or D, states' rights? Number 9. Where on the timeline would you place the writing of the Declaration of Independence? Declaration of Independence, when is that? Is it A, before the Stamp Act in 1765? Is it C, between the Boston Tea Party and fighting breaks out in Concord in 1774? Or is it D, following Thomas Paine publishes Common Sense in 1776. When did they write the Declaration of Independence? Number 10. Which describes one thing Thomas Jefferson did to help the American Revolution? What did Thomas Jefferson do? B. He was the main author of the Declaration of Independence. C. He commanded troops at the Battle of Saratoga. D. He spent the winter with George Washington at Valley Forge. What did Thomas Jefferson do? Number 11. I challenge the warmest advocate for reconciliation to show a single advantage that this continent can reap by being connected with Great Britain. Common Sense, 1776. Who wrote the pamphlet Common Sense? B. Thomas Paine. C. James Armistead. D. John Hancock. Who wrote Common Sense? Number 12. Look at the picture above. What is the reason for the Boston Tea Party as shown above? B. American Indians were attacking the port of Boston. C. Colonists were against the taxes on tea. Or D. American Indians were often hired to work on cargo ships. What is the reason for the Boston Tea Party? 13. Which is the best definition of an unalienable right? A. Rights the government cannot take away. B. A valuable privilege that is enjoyed by a particular social group. Or D. Any activity that encourages private citizens to participate in government. What is an unalienable right? 14. Which best explains the importance of the Battle of Yorktown? Was it A. Was the last battle where the American and French troops cut off the British by land and sea? B. The British were able to divide the colonies into two halves? Or C. The French were persuaded by victory to lend support to the American cause? Number 15. What is the importance of the American victory at Saratoga? So the Battle of Saratoga. A. Was the turning point and they won the support of the French. B. They were able to retake New York City and capture a large British army. Or D. John Paul Jones was able to escape from British Royal Navy. So we're talking about Saratoga. Number 16. Which of the following describes Marquis de Lafayette? Marquis de Lafayette. B. He led a boycott against the British. C. He was French and helped train American soldiers of the Continental Army. Or D. He became the first double spy of the American Revolution. Marquis de Lafayette. 17. There are these two papers. The Boston Gazette, 1775, says, the British redcoats came in sight just before sunrise. The British commanding officer spoke to the militia. Disperse, you rebels, throw down your arms, disperse. Upon which American troops gave a yell, and immediately one or two British soldiers fired their pistols, followed by gunfire from 4 or 5 British soldiers. The London Gazette, 1775. 6 companies of light infantry in Lexington found a body of the country people under arms. The king's troops marched upon them to ask them the reason for being so assembled. Several guns were fired on the king's troops from behind a stone wall and from other houses. As a result, the troops returned fire and killed several of them. 19. These two accounts relate to the firing the first shots of the American Revolution at Lexington, Massachusetts. Based on these accounts, what conclusion can be drawn? A. American militiamen fired the first shots at the Lexington. B. I'm going to read the answers again. So we're talking about this one over here is an American paper saying the British caused it. This one's a British paper saying America caused it. So what can we tell from these accounts? A. American militiamen fired the first shots at Lexington. B. The British fired the first shots of the American Revolution. Or D. The point of view of the writer may lead to some bias in the account. Number 18. Which of these is a grievance from the Declaration of Independence? A. Colonists born in America were prohibited from holding elected office. B. Colonists were forced to quarter troops in their homes. Or D. Colonists were required to serve a year in the colony's militia. Number 19. Which of the following was an important effect of the Treaty of Paris in 1783? A. Canada and the Ohio River Valley were returned to France. B. America won and gained control of all land from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River. Or D. The Americans agreed to grant citizenship rights to the Native Americans. What happened in the Treaty of Paris? And the last question, number 20. Which set of events from the American Revolutionary War is listed in chronological order? That means time order. First, second, third, fourth. What's the right order? Is it A, Saratoga, then Yorktown, then Lexington Concord, and then Valley Forge? C, the Battle of Saratoga? C, is it the Battle of Saratoga, Lexington Concord, the Valley Forge, and then Yorktown? Or is it D, Battle of Lexington Concord, Battle of Saratoga, winter at Valley Forge, and then the Battle of Yorktown? What was the correct order?